Hello, hello, HEX foodies, Telegram group live stream, weekly live stream on Tuesdays at noon Central. It's 12:12, so I guess I'm right on time. Sorry if anybody's been waiting. I'm gonna drop the link. So, what's been happening? For better or for worse, I finished off these tattoos, got them to the printer, and then took some photographs the other day. Let's see, this one down here. So I got one on my chest, one on my forearm here, and one on my neck. Oh, and then I had a die, right? One dice right here. And so the dice, you can cut them separately. I hope everyone is well in the HEX community. I have been in the Twitter spaces, chatting it up a little bit, listening a lot. Finbear says that the internet is still annoying him over there in Finland. So thanks for the tat compliment. I had an idea for today to listen to an hour and 20 minutes worth of audio from the Twitter spaces where Inviting Freedom brought in a chef from Kenya. I thought that was really interesting. What do you guys think about that? And I haven't listened to all of it. So I thought it would be a really cool thing to review it with you guys. But that is an hour and 20 minutes. So do you really want to do it? Let's see. Inside of the HEX community right now, people are talking about whether they're going to go to PulseCon or not. And the influencers of projects like PulseCon or like things that are going to run on Pulse, those people are having to decide, how much are we going to get in there and tell traditional Hexicans, you must go to PulseCon. That's what we're dealing with right now. Oh yeah, Finbear, you're listening to it at maximum speed. Finbear, you are not late. I am late. Zamboni, you are on audio, or it says that you're. Yeah. Zamboni, what do you have to say?
Hey, what's up?
Not much, man. Time change kind of tricked me. We
Yeah.
experienced it recently, but my body clock hasn't caught up, and so I didn't realize what time it was. It's time for foodies. It's time to party.
Yes, let's go.
What have you been up to? What have you made progress on your stuff?
Not much. We're we, I work at a utility, and we're like trying to network with some people who are working at the utility, and trying to get a bit of support for this project. Because we want to build out like the energy efficiency side of it first, and then delve into everything else, like the other resources. Because that's kind of like the focus is the renewable energy microgrid side of everything. But yeah, we haven't really made it much headway. We're kind of the group of guys I'm working with. We're also like doing book club together, so we're kind of focusing on that as well. So we're kind of multitasking.
What's your book right now?
Um, it's I think it's called Address Book. Let me check. It's about how
What's up,
the
Jay
location
Everything?
of, huh?
I said, what's up, Jay Everything? What's
Oh,
up, Hexicans, in the chat.
oh, cool. It's cool. He's in here. Um,
Ooh. Ooh, and you just rug pulled yourself. Attaway Zamboni. Here he is again. You're muted.
am I in here twice?
No.
Okay, cool. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I was talking about book club. When I leave the app, it kicks me out. But I think it's called Address Book, and it's basically just about how the location of where you live affects how many resources you have access to, and the equity and social justice issues about just where you're living, and yeah, all that stuff.
Okay, well, when you read more of it, I'd like to hear more about it.
Yeah, it sounds pretty interesting. Yeah, but I'm starting to dance. Sorry, I'm starting to teach dance classes as well on Mondays, so it's fun.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Staying active.
Yeah, I've been dancing for like 10, 11 years, so
I remember you saying that from college.
Yeah. Yeah, I just recovered from a dislocated shoulder. I had to get like surgery, so I haven't been dancing for like 6 months.
Is that a really long time? Is that hard to come back from?
Yeah. Shoulders take a while to heal, just because they're really intricate. But yeah, it's all good though. It was from a mountain biking accident.
I was watching some mountain biking stuff the other night on YouTube. I was a little bored. I was watching some weird shit, like some cool weird shit, but mountain biking was one of them. And so this guy just like every once in a while he'd get off his bike and he'd go look at the course because it's just like all downhill stuff. He'd go look at the course and be like, "Yeah, I guess I judged this, or this is pretty good." And then he'd go back to his bike and get on it and go down the whole thing. So it was like wooden ramps in that area.
Yeah.
And he had a GoPro like stabilized on his forehead, and you know how those things are. Like whenever you're looking at it, as you're on the mountain, it's a totally different thing than whenever you're like set back quite a bit, looking at it, like, wow, that person dared to do that. But another stupid thing I was watching, marble races. I think like I think it's similar to like watching NASCAR stuff, where there's this dude who built out this whole room in his house with wooden ramps and like got decals and put them all over the place. So he made the lanes. He made he even made stands for marble bystanders. It was pretty crazy. It was really crazy. And it was kind of nice to just have in the background and do something else. And those marbles, like each one of them he kept up with. So, you know, you've got 30 at the beginning and then you just watch them go through the thing. And then they have not a adoption amplifier, but a velocity something or other. So it would hit this certain time in the course at the bottom, kind of, and it's like this broom that just and shoots them up to the top, and then they have enough momentum to make it all the way back down and around. It was cool. Like it was a culture that was made out of nothing. This guy had nothing but glass balls. And he made a show and millions of people watched it. I was watching some other pointless shit the other day, but I'll keep that from talking about that. Well, like America's something ninja, right? Where
Yeah.
they'll go through those obstacle courses, and then I start to wonder, like, am I able to go through those obstacle courses? Am I able to do a few? Oh, this was a thing. Some of the Hexicans over in Vegas, they watched that Marshmallow fellow DJ,
Yeah.
and that guy, he came out and did the ninja thing, and so he actually went through like a whole stage of it with his marshmallow head
Jeez.
on.
That's pretty cool.
So he must be able to see really well in that thing.
Yeah.
I just took the podcast way off. So I put some trees in the ground, and there's some trees that I'm not used to. I put them in bare root, as I've talked about a few times. Apricot is one of them that I'm really zoned in on. I cannot wait to have a working apricot plant. And so like I'm just now having green buds pop out of this apricot, or the multiple apricots. I think that I probably lost like one of them. I think that I lost a fig tree and maybe a plum tree. So like out of 20, I think that I lost probably 4 or 5. So whenever it is that you look at the apricot, its exterior bark is a little bit different than these others. And so it seems to be just more, it seems to be more dry. It seems to be less fleshy. And I believe
Interesting.
that, and so like more smooth. And I believe that, that's not because they're about to die. I think that's because it's just natural. So I'm just examining all the skins, if you will, of these trees that I put in the ground, and seeing which ones are going to be successful. Because down here in Central Texas, we're having a hot day now. We had some rains last night, some cloud cover yesterday, and the days before we had some hot weather. So everything's poking out. I've got some beautiful, beautiful flowers from some peach trees that I planted last year, and then some apple trees that I planted on the north side of the property. They came out much earlier, so I'm really excited about that. They had a different timing than the other trees. And so I've got the spring bug. Like I can't wait to create a greenhouse out here, like a very small one. I went and got some mulch the other day. I went and got some type of, oh gosh, what is it? It's like I was trying to find manure compost. I was trying to find cow compost, and no one's selling it. They're selling human compost. They're getting the human solids from the treatment plant, and they're mixing it with stuff. And so they call it around here. They say that it's dillo dirt or dillo dirt like. And the idea with dillo dirt is whenever you're planting a tree, dig a wide hole, put the dillo dirt in there, and then cover up with the native soil. And that dillo dirt allows water to pass through it so that roots don't drown. And then it also allows roots the maneuverability, I guess.
Like
So I got
it
some of,
has more air spaces.
yes, yes.
Interesting.
When you shoot it with water, the water just goes straight through it.
Yeah.
So what I did was I think I had used that earlier whenever I planted these trees. But what I did for it to recently, like 2 days ago, was I kind of top dressed it and then watered it in with my water hose because I wanted to uh, I, I wanted fungi situations to happen with the mulch around where I planted those trees. So I wanted everything to get all messy and get active here in the spring. Oh, and then last night I took all the seeds that I had laying all over my desk here as like my reminder whenever spring comes, and then over there on the shelf as my like year to year stash over there. I took quite a bit from over there. I took all the ones from over here on my desk, and I put them into just one little medicine bottle type size thing container, and I shook it around a little bit, and then I went outside at like midnight in the rain, and I spread all this stuff around each of the trees that had already bloomed, and selectively around the trees that hadn't yet bloomed. I'm trying to make some guilds, and there's just enough soil around the edges of these newly planted trees in order to allow uh, a substrate for um, the plants to sprout out of. So in creating a guild, you need plants that agree with each other. Um, I probably should have specified a bit more, but I'm just glad to have the task done. Um, I'm kind of the opportunistic type of designer, and I would also
Hmm.
say that um, I allow opportunistic people to perform, and then also plants to perform as well. So if it is that, like, I have an asparagus that popped up over here, or an elephant dill that popped up over there last year, they aren't the best placement for these plants, but they came up by seed. So I really want to, um, not hinder the performance of the plant, but
Hmm.
um, I also don't want to attempt to like transplant it. It decided that things might be pretty good right there, and I want to allow it to check it out. But I also set up these scenarios. I set up the slope of the land, the placement of the dirts. Like I I'm thinking right now whether I actually divided dirts. I think here on this property, I didn't actually like pull dirt from a subsurface area and put it to another area, but um, I most definitely brought new dirt in and placed it in certain areas, or put wood underneath there for a hugelkultur situation for fungi to spread all throughout it, and it to raise the elevation of the piece of property right there. I stacked rocks in areas. So in some areas, it's downward slope of these rocks, like rocks right on top of each other with just mud mortar in between. Sometimes they're facing north, sometimes they're facing south. And so whenever they are facing south, you have a totally different situation than if they're facing the north and they're actually protecting the ground from some sunlight throughout the day. Um, I've got one area where it's a spiral, a rock spiral going up, and it's
Hmm.
all got soil inside of there, and also hugelkultur inside, in order to make it to where it was less soil to build up, but also um, I've seen where hugelkultur holds water, and I can allow certain plants much less human watering, especially, but just not having to worry about them if they stay close to that bundle of woods down below. So right now I have tarragon that's just sprouting up through that. and that tarragon has been going crazy. So I think that it really likes it. Hey, Hexy Cajun, welcome to the stream. Yeah, so that rock spiral out here in front, that is made with limestone rocks. We've got limestone around here that's like in clay soil, and that's up near the street, so it's kind of a display to entertain people.
Yeah, maybe next week you come up with a bunch of pictures of your setup.
So in chat, I've got 3 pictures, I think, of it like poking out. One was the tarragon through the rocks. Another was the apple tree with its little buds, or no, its flowers. And then another was the bright pink peach tree buds that were coming out, and now they're flowers. So everything's looking awesome. It's one step further. Like, I'm to the step where I have a year and a half ago, I already mulched the entire property. And the weed seeds now, from every once in a while me digging around and disturbing the soil, and then those weed seeds are able to come up to the surface of the soil or up into the mulch. I'm to the point where it's obvious that these certain weed seeds, things that I think are not desirable. So like not
Maybe
what typically
intrusive.
people talk about being weed seeds. I would say that, like, okay, let's narrow that down just a little bit more. I do like some things that are considered weeds. What did you say? I'm sorry, I talked straight through you.
Like weeds that are intrusive and like kind of, they kind of take over and kind of break other ones down, break other plants down.
One of the coolest books is Sepp Holzer's Market Garden or something like that. Sepp Holzer's Permaculture. If anybody could go and find that in their library, I think that mine has been misplaced, and my local library has had their version stolen. But inside that book, in the back, it has a very quick understanding of how it is that you can look at weed seeds, or like certain weeds, and you're able to tell, because this plant decided to sprout, my subsurface and surface ground conditions are this certain way. Does that make sense? So you can read the landscape just based on the weeds that pop up. And it's wonderful because you because
like
these things are already there. Yes, it's an indicator. And you can also start to evaluate, okay, this one's low in potassium, this one needs more of whatever. You can go that step further, but you're able to sit back and see the seeds that were already free. That, there's an abundance of life everywhere. It's just whether you're registering it in your head or not, whether it gets you to some sort of goal. So in my situation, the goal is, I analyzed it before, or I still analyze it on all of my neighbors' yards, but like that doesn't matter much because they hardly ever ask me for lawn advice. But it does happen. It's really interesting. Like, the person who has a rental property over here wants to know why my grass is so green, or the person over here wants to know what did I seed my grass. Like, a while back, I seeded my stuff with winter rye, and they were like, your stuff stays green during the winter, what's going on? So I think they actually adopted my stuff. And then it comes whenever whenever the heat spell comes, then it creates seeds, and then year after year, I think that they have winter rye. And that stuff's expensive, and cow manure is probably also expensive because I couldn't find it. So like we're experiencing prices go up. I got what did I get the other day? Some service, like it was web domain names.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone up in price. I just recently got an email that said certain ones that I had owned for a while are going to go up from like $14, or maybe it was just 18, and then it went to 20. So maybe it was
Mm-hmm.
just that small amount. What is that, 5%? So
Hold on, I have a little story to tell. You want to know something funny? So I went snowboarding this weekend, and I realized I didn't have a helmet because I've been borrowing my sister's helmet for the longest time. And so I was like, okay, I have to buy a helmet. So on the way to my friend's house, who lives in near the mountain where we were gonna stay before we went up to the mountain, I was like, okay, I'll just pick up a helmet on the way there. I stopped at a Play Again Sports. They didn't have one my size. I stopped at an REI. They didn't have any helmets. I stopped at another REI. They didn't have a helmet my size. I stopped at another REI, and they had like one or two that were my size. And it was $90 for a helmet. Like what the heck? Just like ridiculous. So
yeah, because
expensive. Everything's expensive.
your head matters.
Yeah.
Do you have a reference from like what it used to be to what it is now?
No, I don't. I guess I mean 90 might not be that much, but I mean it's just a helmet. I don't know. It's a comfy helmet, so I don't know. Yeah.
Yes, Hexicajun. I don't have cow manure at a particular place where I can go and purchase it. If the people are smart, they'll keep their cow manure on their own property. If they have enough land for them to roam and it's not the stockyards. I don't think we have stockyards around here. In in my area, between my area and Hexicajun's area, there's a lot of chicken being raised. And so if you went on Google Maps and you looked for the um, I don't know, the big or the long metal buildings, shelters that are set up in East Texas, there's not too much of it in Central Texas. Now in North Texas, on your way to places like Lubbock in the Panhandle, you would find stockyards and you would smell those stockyards. So I think you can smell the chicken stuff whenever you're around it as well. I think, yeah, let's just go with that. So bringing it to the mulch in my yard, the point where I am right now with mulching my yard is, or developing my yard, is where whenever it was that I dug around just a little bit here and there, or planted these trees, let's say, um, then I disturbed the soil and I brought old seed weeds to the surface, and they started sprouting a little bit. But I'm able to just neatly go around and pick the ones that I don't like. And I don't have to bring out the tools and the heavy work. I don't have to mark off. What's up, Marcavelli? Um, I don't have to mark off areas and say, okay, this is completely wild. Instead, I'm able to just as I see it, go and dibble dabble. And that's a very important stage to get to, rather than feeling overwhelmed by a project, rather than always putting it off or thinking that you have to hire somebody to do it. But everybody right now should be thinking about, what is it that you're going to be doing this spring to enhance your life? Are you going to get somebody to create a raised bed for you? That way you don't have to, like, maybe that's Mel Bartholomew's situation. He wrote a book called Square Foot Gardening, where you bring in all the soil so that there are no disruptions. There are no possibilities of getting something wrong. Or well, I guess in that instance, the water that you could be adding to it could be a problem. So attempt to do rainwater. I don't want to go into negatives, but we have so much against us raising our own food and doing, like, getting answers out of the land and our environment. We just need to hold on to these truths and take baby steps into it. And in 3 years, you'll have a wonderful market garden where you can just walk people through your garden and say, like Sepp Holzer, right, Finbear, like Sepp Holzer, where you can take fruiting bodies, you can take cuttings, you can take seeds, all you want in your backpack. I don't know anything about it. I'm just charging for the tour. I'm just charging you, $100 to walk through my property, or in my case, maybe like $5 to $20. I'll take a $10 bill off of somebody to do a loop around my house. Yeah, we could do that. You could take some of the fruit and dry it and save those seeds for yourself. Last night, whenever I had all these seeds right here, Zamboni, you're muted in case you're talking. Last night with all these seeds right here, I was wondering, like, do I want to put all of them in the ground? Do I want to throw all of them out? Because, like, the amount that they actually sprout is much less, like this season at least, is much less than if I were to pamper them in a greenhouse situation with a little amount of dirt to their own, and then transplant them later. Instead, I want them to thrive on their own. Like, I'll pay attention to them a little bit, but I just want to give them a little pat on the butt while they're out there, not like have them as a house dog. And that's where a person like me loses. I'll lose track of time, and then these transplants, I didn't do enough because the stages, there were 10 strong stages, and I'm just making that up. 10 things to do to make it right, as opposed to the serendipitous. What did I say earlier? I am a opportunistic type designer instead of just the opportunistic situation happening. Sounds like somebody's beating something outside. So if I could run the spaces with inviting freedom here, then I would, but I'm not able to. So this is Hex Kitchen. Look that up on Twitter. Either that or go to the Hex Telegram chat and find the link that I left. It is a post that I did. It's called Hex Kitchen, Gut Microbiome and Mental Health, ? Tumors, ? Cognition, ? I think this would be an awesome thing to highlight inside of Hex Foodies, because there are other people, there are other foodies doing things. Inviting Freedom's one of us. So it's on Twitter. It's called Hex Kitchen. It was done March 16th, 2022. So that was 6 days ago. And I haven't listened to it yet. So I was kind of hoping that we'd be able to do that here together. But I didn't get my beep together. And now I'm just going to go beep and cry.
Sounded like an android there. Beep bop.
Is that yours?
Yes. That's my best rendition I can do.
Hey, did you ever watch Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
Or was that Okay. Was that like version 3 or 4, or was that the original?
I think I watched like the second one, the second version, and then also I don't think I ever watched like the newer ones. I watched
Like,
the one with was it Megan Fox? Yeah, I think she was in one of them.
I thought that was Transformers.
Well, she's in Transformers too, but
She's in, yeah, that's dating me. All right. Zamboni, I'm going to call it quits. I've given people their homework. I've rambled enough. You are at work, right? You're at a lunch break, right? Sweet. Okay. All right, man. Give us something to close out on.
Oh,
What is your advice for the week? Spring. Okay, it's spring, and people could witness anything, do anything. They might be feeling like, hey, I need to follow through with the New Year's resolution.
well, because it's spring and after spring is summer, there's no more snow in summer, so I'll take advantage of going to the mountains and enjoying the snow. Um, the skiing season is almost over, and I think spending time in the mountain is a good way to kind of appreciate the nature and a different kind of nature that a different environment that you might not be used to. So, and we don't know, maybe in a few decades there won't be really any snow. So there's a lot of global change happening, and every year it seems like we're getting less and less snow or more drastic environmental weather changes. So go out and enjoy it when you can.
All right. And oh goodness, what is it? I have to do something on top of that. Okay. So knowing that there is climate changing and effects are happening, it comes into your household. Research what we're actually doing to create this issue.
What?
We're actually geoengineering a lot of this crap.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to spit out a website, but I can't remember that website's name. Geoengineering Watch, maybe? Anyway. But yes, go get your tans, people, and live very happily. And
Yes.
if a baby boomer comes and tries to tell you what's up, you tell them what's up.
Yeah, stay hydrated too.
And stay hydrated. There we are. And wear your
Hydrate,
helmet.
hydrate or dihydrate.
There we are. Hydrate or dihydrate. All right. Peace out, Zamboni.
All
Have a
right,
good day
thank
at
you.
work.
See ya.
Thanks for joining me this week.
Yep.
Cheers.
Cheers.